haven't done a good rant in a long time. So let's get into it. So, this may seem random, this subject, but it's not in my life as it applies to things happening in my life right now. So you know how people are always like, there's people out there that are always like, if you can't handle me at my worst, then you don't deserve me at my best. And it's usually in the context of dating, but it can be used in any relationship, really, just relationships in general. And I'm like, okay, very interesting. I'll give you that. So I have some follow-up questions now to that. So, are you handling anybody at their worst? If that's something you expect for yourself, is that something that you're willing to do? And then 2 follow-up questions to that. 1, if you are handling somebody at their worst, is it to the point that it is literally draining you of time, money, energy, to the point that it's like unhealthy and you're giving way too fucking much of yourself to this person, handling them at their worst? Like it's harmful to you? Because that's not good. But on the other side of that, if that is not something that you're willing to do for anyone, if you're not willing to handle anybody at their worst, and you're not currently doing that for anybody, either, whatever. So is that just something that applies to you? Like you're just the only one that's allowed to be not perfect, who's allowed to make mistakes, to stumble and fall, and everybody else around you has to be perfect? Are you willing to be there for somebody else in their worst? Or are you a fair weather friend, partner, whatever? And that if in any turbulence, any, whatever, you're just like, nah, this is too much, I can't handle it. Is that the kind of person you are? Like, are you too selfless or too selfish when it comes to that concept, Because sometimes we give too much to people because we want to extend that grace of handling them at their worst. And then it can end up destroying us. And then other people, I feel like that concept of being handled at their worst literally only applies to them. And everybody else apparently can go kiss their ass. And that's not right either. Both are shitty situations. I just think that it's something to think about, because handling somebody at their worst, sometimes that can be very harmful and toxic for you. But also, if you're going to abandon somebody in one of their worsts, that's kind of hypocritical, don't you think? And like, we all have the right to put up boundaries. I'm not saying don't put up boundaries. I'm all about boundaries. We all have the right to put up boundaries around ourselves, to decide where we're going to spend our energy, who gets it, whatever. But I'm just saying, like, if you're going to expect that grace for yourself, there's literally no way that you can morally not be willing, if the situation calls for it, to extend that grace to somebody else. How can you expect something from somebody else that you're not willing to do? That don't make no fucking sense. I just think it's something to think about. Like, maybe if you're not willing to do that for somebody, then maybe don't fucking say that shit. Maybe don't say shit like, if you can't handle me at my worst, then you don't deserve me at my best. Maybe not say that. Because you're literally not willing to dish out what you're not willing to dish out what you're literally demanding from others, and that's not cool. That's not cool at all. And also, you know, handling somebody at their worst sometimes is a bit much. Maybe it's a gauge. Maybe, it's a spectrum. But I do find that most often, the people that say that phrase are usually not, are fair weather partners. For sure. Just something I've been thinking about. I think it's interesting. I think it's an interesting concept. Ponder that question.